Hello, hello, hello. I am Schlaacka on the internet. I am a live streamer, streaming on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube, depending on the day. For anybody that doesn't know my content, I'm really trying to break the norms of a parasocial relationship with my chat. This will make more sense if you're there, but I've got a text-to-speech system. It's very custom-coded. All of my content is driven directly by chat. It leads to a very personal relationship with my chatters, which I want to explore more, break more of those parasocial norms on this podcast. Enjoy. Yo, how are you?
Good. Kind of weird to be without my baby.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't need you to, lose your baby for this.
No, honestly, I have other stuff I need to do, so it works out. I'm a planner and she's not. She's stressing me out.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to be doing more of these. If anything, just because I don't talk to anyone in my chat enough. I consider you guys like my best friends, and I don't literally have never talked to you guys on the phone. I mean, you've heard my idea of this, and I think it's going even more so that direction where I just kind of want to like get to know the people in my chat. I think it's a little bit different with you and some of the people I'm closer to because it's like I know you. We've had conversations and whatnot, but I'd also like to throw in like people that I don't really know as well at all, or people that literally just joined the community. We've got a really tight knit thing going.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like an opportunity for me to be a little bit less silly, goofy, pressing buttons, playing sounds, and actually like
Yeah.
talk about like who I am and who you are. So, which I know a lot of people are curious about because I've gotten a lot of people that are excited for this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was like shocked that people were like picking me. I'm like, I'm boring. I've just been in stream all day.
Yeah, you were absolutely nominated. Like
Yeah.
at totality, there was no one else you've ever been picking between, really.
Yeah. The only other person suggested was Nia, and that was by me.
But yeah, I think this will be a little bit more serious. I'm just kind of curious. I don't know anybody in chat on a real level. Like I know
Yeah.
the baseline of like, your mom and you're like, you got married last year. Yeah.
No, 2022.
Oh my gosh, so long ago.
Yeah, almost
See,
4
this is
years.
what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I gotta know better.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then I have a kind of an idea of where I'm like I'm interested in going a direction, but I
Okay.
think I think it takes like a certain amount of understanding you as a person to get there. So,
Right.
all right, I mean, I guess we'll just get started, right?
Boom.
Boom. I guess we'll get into you got married 4 years ago. To my dismay, to my misunderstanding. What how tell me about it. Tell me whatever you're willing to share about it.
Okay, so it's a really long story, so I'll give you the like cut down
You
version.
can do the long story if you want, but we can do a medium story.
My husband, his name's Lawson. That's a big reveal
Nice.
for some people. He was best friends, or he's still pretty good friends with my brother. And my brother worked at a roller skating rink. But I was in ballet, so I like wasn't really allowed to like jump on trampolines or go to the roller rink. So we kind of started like texting. And people are like, okay, we were really good friends, and then we started dating. We were like, there was no interest in dating him when we started talking. So we were just really good friends for probably like 3 to 4 months. And then I finally got the okay to go to the rink, and we dated. I was 15. I literally had to ask my parents if I could date him. I had never dated anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're only 23,
I'm
22.
23
Yeah,
as of January.
yeah.
So and we dated for 8 months. I broke up with him. There's not really like a reason. I just was like, okay, I don't think I am like as committed. But like we weren't
You were
allowed to,
young.
yeah, we weren't allowed to like go on dates by ourselves. I couldn't drive. He had a lot different of an upbringing than I did. So like he didn't have access to a car, and like he was walking everywhere. And we live in like a small town, but it's like a big small town. Like everybody kind of knows everybody.
Sure.
There just wasn't a lot to the relationship other than like texting. And I was like, this is boring. So I'm going to come back to dating when I'm ready and
Yeah.
I can do more stuff.
That's
And
very mature at 16.
what can I say? What can I say? I have actually, always gotten that I've been a little more mature and responsible, and I think that's due to my ballet background.
Okay.
Um, like even like down to planning timing for this. Like I'm just a planner. I like to schedule things in advance. Like it's just kind of in my blood at this point.
Is that just because like ballet was so like strict?
Yeah, that and also the people because of like how when I started ballet, I was younger or older than most people start, but I advanced pretty quickly when I first started, that I was put in with a lot of people who were like almost double my age sometimes.
Okay.
Like I'd be like 13 and there's people graduating in the same class as me. So it was just kind of I think just due to the crowd that I was hanging around, but it was like a really good crowd. Like I would say I had a pretty like good experience in the ballet world considering.
Okay. We'll come back to ballet because I'm curious about that too.
So we broke up and he actually still came to my Nutcracker performance. I don't know if like you know what that is, but it's
Yeah.
like okay. Um I was about to mansplain it to
Well,
you.
it's going to be like a podcast, so just explain everything.
That's true. That's true. It's like an annual Christmas performance, and
Yeah.
I had a pretty big role in it. So my mom had already bought him, or my mom and dad had already bought him tickets. So he actually still came and brought me flowers, even though we were broken up. Poor guy. And when I broke up with him, I was like, I'm never getting back with him. Like he didn't do anything wrong. He's a great guy. I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
But
you just can't be on your phone. You can't be texting.
yeah,
You can't be bothered.
yeah, I was too busy.
That was it. You know, that was the whole relationship and you just couldn't do it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
When you put it like that, it sounds
At the
terrible.
ripe age of 16, I can't be with you. I can't text.
Oh my gosh.
No, I get
When
it.
you
I
put
get
it
it.
like when you put it like that, I sound just like mean and like low effort.
No, I assume it was a pretty limiting relationship.
Yeah, it also like just like a little bit of like my family background. My mom didn't work up until like literally that like the year of COVID. And then my dad, he's actually been a police officer for 24 years.
Hmm.
20, yeah. So, and I know that's like a hot take for some people. So like I don't really like plan to get into their stuff. But
Yeah.
because of that, and I'm their first daughter, I have an older brother. It was like very strict, very sheltered kind of thing. So
Yeah, wait, I'm doing the math here. You started dating him at 15. What year was that?
oh my gosh. I
Uh,
don't know.
Well, I'm just trying to think of when did this parallel with COVID?
20, well, that's like in the future. We got back together in 2020.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to COVID yet.
No, 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 no. I
Okay.
was just giving you like my mom was a stay-at-home mom at the time.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to figure out if this at all. I'm like getting ahead of myself. I'm trying to piece these puzzle pieces together. I'm like, okay, she left him for texting. I was like, this is different if it's during COVID, but it's not. So okay,
Sorry, I'm not very good either. I jump around because you have to think I don't talk to many adults during the day either.
yeah,
Like I'm
you're
just like, hi, peekaboo all day long. So
okay. Well, you can we can just talk. You can just talk to me like, no, that's gonna get weird. Just kidding. Explain the story like I'm your 6 month old.
oh my gosh. So it goes blah 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 blah.
Continue.
Are you caught up?
Caught
Okay.
up.
So I think it would have been 2018, if I'm remembering correctly. I broke up with him. It was my sister's birthday. And then my performance was like a week and a half later. And then I like went cold turkey. Like I found out he was like still kind of texting me a little bit. And then we just like I just didn't ever know about it. And then I actually ended up dating another guy. It would have I know it's like the timeline's terrible
That's okay.
but that next May. So
Okay.
I like wasn't single that long, but he lived really close to me.
Yeah, so you didn't have to text. I get it.
Yeah, I didn't have to text him. I
I
could
think
ride my bike over
you
there.
just hate texting. I think we figured that
I
out.
really am not a good texter
Me neither.
anymore. Like I actually used to be better, especially when I like lived long distance and stuff, but yeah. It's actually funny that you say, like, when you put it into, like, oh, we broke up because we were texting, and then we were, like, long distance for most of our relationship. I'm actually just putting that together. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, come on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Reel it back. Reel it back. You're still dating this other boy right now.
But we talked and we like dated for a little bit. Like we still couldn't go on dates, but I could at least like go over to his house and like his parents were around and he could come to my house. And then I actually broke up with him too. I was like, I think you're moving too fast. He was like talking about all this stuff. And I was like, no, dude, like I'm 16. I was freshly 16. I was like, okay, absolutely not. And then we were broken up for probably like a month and a half. And I got back together with him.
Oh my
It was,
gosh.
I know, I'm like, every time I leave, I just always go back. I'm like
Yeah.
kind of toxic, low key.
Yeah, me too, sort of.
But I would travel away like for the summers for ballet. So I actually broke up with him the first time um, when I was like away for the summer. So like really not kind of me at all.
Yeah.
And then like I got back and I was like, okay, we can be together again.
It's a
And
proximity thing. I'm figuring you out.
yeah,
I'm
for
putting it all
sure.
together. I'm curious to see how long distance worked, but
Then I ended up breaking up with him. I don't know the timeline. It was like right when, well, oh my gosh, there's actually so much lore here. I do know the timeline 100%. Basically, it was my brother's senior year. I was supposed to graduate the next year later, but with COVID, I like crammed all of my senior year into like 3 months and graduated the same year as he did. And because of COVID, we couldn't do a like normal prom. And I was homeschooled anyway. So like we weren't gonna do a prom. But my brother's girlfriend at the time like was like, let's set something up, just something small. So we had like probably 8 couples there. I mean, half of them I didn't even know. And so Jackson, my ex, um and I went to prom together, and then now my brother's girlfriend is his ex. But Lawson, my now husband, went with, oh my gosh, this is just gonna like be so confusing to follow.
yeah, I'll do my best.
But Lawson went with a girl named Chelsea. We'll
Okay.
just start with that.
Okay.
And I remember when we went to prom, I had met my brother's girlfriend and I had met Chelsea once. So like I knew them at least, but like the other people I didn't really know. And I remember when we like went to prom, the guy Jackson was like really traditional. Like, and I think that was like part of the reason that I wasn't like really like vibing. Like he said some things that I just was like, okay. And I will say, like, I consider myself pretty traditional now, but
Hmm.
at the time I was like, dude, no, like I don't want 18 kids and to work in the kitchen and
Yeah,
be gone all day. Like that just wasn't my dream at the time.
sure.
And that was kind of what it was. And anyway, so we went to prom and I remember I just like did not want to hold Jackson's hand. Like I barely wanted to even like give him a kiss. It was like really strange. And I've like pinpointed it now, 6 years later, that it was because of Lawson. I
Hmm.
was still like really like I had that butterfly feeling with him. And I had seen him out and about once or twice and was kind of like, oh, he's gotten cuter. He
Yeah,
seems really sweet. And then, then there's that aspect. No matter how much people like say that there isn't, there's that aspect of like, okay, well, like now I can't have him. I
yeah,
kind of want him. You know what I mean?
for sure.
I feel like people don't want to say that, but like that was kind of what it was for me. And he had actually dated pretty seriously another girl for a long time. And she actually broke up with him because she thought that he was cheating on her with me because she was
Hmm.
like, I saw her name in your phone. And he was like, she blocked me, dude. Like, there's no way.
Gotcha.
But anyways, so then like a month or two after prom, I like added him back on Snapchat. And I know how you feel about Snapchat, okay?
No, it's
Whatever.
fine. I've changed my tune a little bit. I think it's for sex and I think it's for partners. Those are the two angles.
It is my main form of communication with Lawson now.
I don't trust Snapchatters.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, it's fine. You're with your boy. You can be on Snapchat. It's okay.
So I added him back, but I didn't snap him for like 7 hours. And he finally was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And he snapped me. And then I actually started to go to like this Bible study with him. And I know like it's hit or miss whether people will like take religion or whatever. But
Oh, don't worry. It's in my list. I'm so curious about it.
we um we started going to this, or I started going to this Bible study, and he was there and his brother. And I kind of was like, at this time I had not broken up with my boyfriend Jackson, but I was still going to or I had just started going to this group. And then like I found out there was a closer knit group that he was in and Chelsea was in, and I really liked Chelsea. We're actually now best friends. So we would hang out kind of sometimes after our church group. And then it was on a Tuesday night. One of the nights I got an email from Oklahoma City Ballet that I had I could take a contract with them to dance with them
Oh,
for the 2020 to 2021 season. And I remember he was like, "Oh wow, that's great." Like not excited at all,
yeah.
but like did what he could.
Hmm.
Um, and then I kept going. I kept hanging out with those friends, and he was always there. Like we would go to his house sometimes.
But you're still with Jackson.
Okay, well, I've skipped a little bit. You're right. I should break up with Jackson before I move on because then it sounds bad.
Yeah, you should break up with Jackson. Just confirm that.
No, I remember though, like again, it was all because like of that time that I was spending with Lawson that I was like, okay, like it feels wrong to like lead him on when I really do like now believe that my heart like kind of likes him, like
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did break up with Jackson over text again.
Love that.
So yeah. I actually still see his family around all the time, so they're really sweet. But yeah, so then we're broken up.
Okay.
Lawson is like not really in a relationship. He's kind of talking to Chelsea, my now best friend, but
And he was with Chelsea for a while.
he
Or
was like, yeah, I would say they were in like that talking stage. Like they wouldn't really go out on, like they were texting. They're kind of what we were doing
okay.
that first time around.
Yeah.
Um, but then it was like a Tuesday. It was my last Tuesday group before I moved. I remember it was August 11th, and then I was moving on August 14th to Oklahoma City.
Hmm.
We like were talking, and he was like, "Well, we could do long distance." And at this time, I had not told my parents about him. We actually used to. I hope they never listen to this. They're gonna like find out some secrets.
Mine too.
Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Where was I at? You got bullet points?
No, I'm not taking notes, unfortunately, but
Oh
you
gosh.
you were thinking about going long distance.
Okay, yeah. So, but again, my parents didn't know about him.
Hmm.
So when like we would always go play volleyball. Because our group was not at the church, but we'd go to the church that then had a volleyball
Okay.
court or whatever it's called. And we would actually I have Life 360, the like tracking app with my parents. Do you
Okay.
know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would had my whole family on there, and like we had locations set, and it was like, okay, this is where we can go, and this is where we can't. Again, I'm now 17 at this time.
Yeah. Still very traditional in comparison to a lot of people, but okay. Cool.
Right.
Interesting.
So, but we had our church, or I say our church, the church set, because my parents didn't go or anything, set in Life 360, but there was this soccer field that was like in just enough of the distance that like him and I could kind of like sneak away
Hmm.
and they would never know. So we would like go and we would chat, and he was like asking like what it would look like our future and everything. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know if I'm like to that point of thinking of like marriage and all that stuff yet, but like this is kind of fun. Like we had kissed at this point. Again, I was like, okay, he's cute. Let's keep him.
I love how you're bouncing around the story because you still have yet to tell me that you're back together, but I've connected some
Oh, I'm
dots here.
sorry. We got back together. It was like June 23rd. It was like a month after I broke up with Jackson or something.
You say June 23rd as if you gave a date for when you broke up
I
with
know,
Jackson.
right?
No, it's perfect. You're back together. I got you. I got you.
But the thing is like we never really were like, okay, we're dating now until we were long distance.
Okay.
So like I didn't really ever like, I don't know, it was just kind of like, oh, we're talking, like, but we snuck away. So it's like, okay, like there's obviously something there. But I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying. Sorry, I didn't give you
No, you're good. It's
a
very
dig.
it's like a fluid timeline. I get it.
But so then we were talking that last Tuesday before I left
Okay.
for Oklahoma City. And again, my parents had no idea or anything. So I was like, well, we could like not do long distance because I've never really heard of that working. And I just am not sure like I'm going to have the time to give you like what you need out of a relationship. We're
Yeah.
very, very emotional, very like attached. Like it would have been mean for me to like not bring up the fact that I didn't ever hear like success stories
Yeah.
of long distance, and I didn't want to set him up for failure. But little old me, I was like, but I can wait around. Like, no, you couldn't have. I would not have waited around at
Yeah.
all. Like, not because I didn't love him, but because like I was young and I was
Hmm.
in a completely different city kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like we talked about it and I was like, no, we're not doing long distance, blah, blah, blah. And I was moving on August 14th. And then I got to my apartment in Oklahoma City and I was like, okay, I guess like we're like long distance now. Like
Okay.
I couldn't like not text him
Yeah.
kind of thing. I know we broke up over not texting and now we're back to texting.
Yeah. You're switching it up.
But I moved a whole like month before my season started with Oklahoma City Ballet.
Hmm.
And he actually came to visit me. Like he made it was like, I don't know, like a 5.5 hour drive, all like without my parents' knowledge or anything. This was like the most rebellious thing I've ever done. I'm a very like, I'm a rule follower. I'm a pretty goody two shoes.
Yeah.
Like,
Because you're still 17 technically at this point.
yeah, I moved
Okay.
out. Yeah, I was 17
Okay.
for a good long while
Yeah.
after I moved. So he came to visit me, and then I actually went back before my season started, went back to my town with my parents. And I'm like making sure I don't dox myself here either.
Hmm. I can
Um,
cut anything that feels doxy.
okay, that's true. But I don't live in Oklahoma City anymore, so I'll give you my apartment. No, I'm just kidding. But I came back and my brother was in town too, and he had like heard from friends that like we were kind of, talking and in a relationship.
Yeah.
And we were going out as a group to like hibachi or something. I don't even know.
Hmm.
And I remember I was like getting all nice and ready. And I'm not really like, oh, let me get ready for this. But
Yeah.
like for him, I am.
Hmm.
And I remember we were in our parents' room and my mom was like, oh, Cheyenne, who are you getting ready for? And my brother just was like, Lawson. And I was like, dude, like, I haven't told him about any of this. So we were long distance. At this point, he was able to like come with my parents to like watch my shows and stuff. So he would sit in the car with them for 6 hours and drive. And then he visited me like 2 or 3 more times, like without their knowledge, before they finally were like, okay, like you guys have been dating a year, like you can make your own decisions, blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
So he was able to like kind of come on his own when he could with work. But I was supposed to have 4 years with Oklahoma City Ballet, and we got a new director, and I ended up only having 2 years. They like did not want to renew my contract.
Sure.
Um, so I was like, okay, I've only got two options. So I moved back home for a few months, and um, like with my parents, and I finally made the decision. Okay, I'm going to move to Ohio. I'll accept this contract with them. It was a lateral jump, so it wasn't like ideal. Like I really wanted like to move up in the ranks, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he proposed on that same soccer field we used to sneak away to. And I had like no idea. There was like no ounce of me that was like prepared because we had like made a timeline of, okay, let's get engaged and we'll have a short engagement next summer.
Yeah.
Because at this time, like we are going from long distance of like 400 and something miles to like 1,200 miles.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is silly. And he proposed on June 4th of 22. And then our wedding day was August 12th of 2022. So it was a pretty short engagement.
Yeah.
We knew that we wanted to wait a while before we had kids or anything. And we knew like I was originally still going to dance. We
Hmm.
got married on the 12th and moved to Ohio on the 22nd. So it was a pretty quick like shift. There's like the ballet backstory of it, but I ended up quitting a week in. I just didn't want to do it after being married. I was just not my heart anymore.
Sure.
And then we moved back. We had to live out like 9 months of our lease, so we didn't like mess up my parents like credit or whatever. Because
Yeah.
at the time, it was literally like we signed the lease, and like my parents said a week later, he like went and asked him if he like for their blessing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like inconvenient timing, but we had to live out our lease, and then we moved back to where we live now, and we have been here ever since May of 2023. And then we knew we wanted to wait a while before we had kids, like 2 to 3 years, and then that 3 year mark hit, and I was like, or 2 year mark, and I was like, okay, like we got to speed this up. Like I'm ready to like be a mother
Yeah.
again. Like my dreams had completely shifted
Yeah. No kidding.
after like meeting him and or reconnecting with him, and then also quitting ballet. That was a big thing. Like I knew that I wanted to be a mom at some point. But and some of that pours into like the I hate to use the word religion, but like the religion aspect of it, because a lot did change there for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we got pregnant in April, or would have been March of 25. And then now we have Lucy here in December of 25. And now she's 5 months. So I
Wild.
think I think I hit all the main points. I probably like made it really confusing to follow, but
No, you're good. I like that that was supposed to be the short version. Um,
there's so much more. That's what's crazy. But that is
it's
honestly, it should probably not like go out to the public anyways.
yeah.
So it's good.
It's fascinating. I want to know, you were pretty on top of ballet. Like the ballet was
Mhm.
like your focus, primary. You hit this sort
Right.
of snag in Oklahoma, was it?
Yes.
You hit the sort of snag there, moved a ways away. Where did you move
Mhm.
again?
Ohio.
Ohio, that's what I thought. Ohio, and then immediately quit. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated by that. What was the prompting point to completely, because that was your whole life up to that point. Like you were working towards that heavily.
Right. Well, after I honestly, even before I got engaged, like that whole summer that I was home with my parents, I was like, okay, I'm going to be in the studio every day. I'm going to put my point shoes on every day. Like I'm going to go, work out the way I can. And like, it just wasn't a desire. Like I just didn't like make the time for it. And then I think that did play into like how I felt the first week in Ohio. I was like, I just don't feel my best. I feel like I don't look my best. And, that's a whole other aspect of ballet. I mean, I actually remember too, this before my second year in Oklahoma, I called my dad like the night before I started. And I was like, I don't think I want to dance anymore. And
Yeah.
he was like, well, you're already here, honey. And like, this is expensive. It's like $8,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, wow, that's such a leap to be just done, you know?
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, I remember people were like, "You're gonna regret this. Like, you're gonna feel bad for your parents." And I'm like, as a parent now, like, I do feel bad. Like,
Yeah.
I would have said, "No, girl. Like, you got a whole year ahead of you," because my parents still had to pay that money.
Yeah.
And normally, when you quit, they actually, because I like technically took someone's spot,
Yeah.
they normally ask you like to pay that remaining money up front.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, "We can't afford to do that." So I was like, basically, like, I lived right, like, literally, I could walk out my apartment door, take like 20 steps, and I was in the ballet studio. Like, it
Yeah.
was purposeful. Like, my parents, again, at the time, I was going to be living there by myself
Yeah.
when we found this apartment and signed the lease. So I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe I can like check in with them once a week because they want to make sure I'm not going to run away with their money essentially. And I
Sure.
was like, please, like my parents say they can't, they're not going to be able to pay it all up front, which totally understandable. I don't have that money either.
No.
I was like, but I really don't want to do it. And they say if that they can't find a way to pay it off like monthly as they were supposed to, that they're going to make me keep doing it. And I really don't want to do it. And I remember like it was like anxiety inducing because I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I really struggled with how I looked, like after getting married and like not dancing the whole summer. It was kind of a few things, but I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. So I was like, okay, whatever, we'll just kind of have fun these first 9 months of marriage, which I'm sure my parents were thrilled about.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. But it seemed like you were starting to lose interest in Oklahoma. Do you think a lot of it, you said you're a very routine oriented person. Do you think a lot of it was that you were doing such, when did you start ballet? Let's actually go back.
I started when I was 7.
Yeah, so do you think it was the fact that like it was so sort of routine oriented from 7 to when you moved, and then when you moved, it was like a whole different just can of worms?
No. I think it was Lawson.
Okay.
I didn't want to be long distance anymore.
Okay, got it. So then you sort of knew in the back of your head probably like, okay, if we end up together when we're married, whatever, you'll start dwindling off. And then you got
Right.
married early, and then you were
Yeah.
like, well, now I'm out. Like this was the whole
Yeah.
plan in your head. It was just a year early.
Yep.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, when you put it that way, it's yeah.
Yeah,
That actually makes exact sense or
yeah.
perfect
I
sense.
think that's exactly what happened. It's just interesting that you spent so many years from 2000 or sorry, not 2007, from when you were 7 to when you were what 22, 20 no 20, right?
I
19,
would have been 19. Yeah.
and then you were just like, no, I'm with Lawson now, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's so funny. What does he do, can I ask?
Yeah, so he currently works at Discount Tire. He's an assistant manager over there. He's like applied for a new job and we're waiting to hear.
Sure, but it's not like there was any
So,
like huge career path that he was following. You were just like satisfied. You were like, that's all I needed. You're like,
yeah,
my purpose in life has completely shifted, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I always tell people was like the job that he's looking into now would probably most likely require like a lot of traveling. And they're like, okay, what are you going to do? And I'm like, this man like packed up everything in 10 days to move for me to, build my career, and then I quit a week in. Like
Yeah.
there's not a thing I wouldn't do for him. You know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, I did feel really bad about it for a while, but I
Yeah.
didn't regret quitting. I just like regret the like position I kind of put like especially my parents in, but even Lawson too.
Yeah, for sure.
He had grown up in the same spot his entire life. Like he had
Yeah.
never moved, and
Hmm.
I kind of took him away. So
Yeah. You really hated Ohio then. You were like, this sucks. Ohio does suck.
it was, yeah, it wasn't bad. We had a lot of fun, but it was not anywhere near where we live now. It was
Yeah.
a lot different. Like I like being able to go to the store and see someone I know.
Yeah. Yeah, you like the small town. I'm like wrapping my head around this now.
I know.
Because you had said you were in ballet for your whole life and that you teach. Well, yeah, let's go into you teach it now.
Yeah, well, I knew I wanted to teach, and that was the problem with being in Ohio is I knew we weren't going to stay there. So it seemed like from the outside, like from my parents and anybody that like didn't know me on like a really personal level was like, oh, she's just not doing anything now. And
Hmm.
it's like, well, no, I just don't want to get into a place of teaching and
Hmm.
and a place of like committing myself to teaching and then having to leave in, 6 months because I knew we were going to move back after our lease was lived up. There was literally no way for us to afford living there
Hmm.
on our own, for one, because my parents were helping with the rent, because that was originally what I wasn't going to be bringing in any money.
Yeah.
So they were going to cover the whole rent until Lawson came in the picture of being married and everything. So, and I took a good year before I moved back here that I didn't teach. I didn't do anything. Well, I did. I actually worked at Discount Tire too, but I wasn't like doing anything in the ballet world. And again, I think people just were like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I feel like kind of like you're saying, it seems like a very big shift of like, oh, she's got a husband and now she's like completely different. And it's like, well, no, there was a lot leading up to it, I feel like. But
Yeah. It's like sort of 50-50 here because you're like you can say there's a lot leading up to it, but in the end, really your prerogative just changed to like you just want to be with him and follow like wherever that leads with kids and stuff like that, you know?
yeah, it goes into like that aspect of like religion for me too.
Yeah.
Like a lot changed in 2020 for me.
Yeah, and
Like my entire,
super curious about that because I feel like that leads into this. But finish
yeah.
talking about teaching first.
Yeah, well then the studio that I like did most of my training in, like here where I live, I just like wasn't drawn to teaching there. There was something that was like keeping me away. And then I finally was to the point of like, okay, I do not want to work in customer service anymore. And I was like reaching out to basically anybody I knew that could like help me out.
Hmm.
And they were like, yeah, there's this new studio, like they do music and art, and the ballet program is building. So I applied, and like as I was walking out, like I had the job.
Hmm.
And it pays really well. We don't have a super big like population of kids.
Yeah.
Like I did a recital in the beginning of this month, and there was only 5 girls in it. So it's really small. It's like, I wouldn't even call it a job. For me, it's more of just like, this is what I want to do. I love pouring into little kids.
Yeah.
And like, I learned so much in ballet. There's so much more to ballet, and really any kind of sport, anything you do in life. Like there's so much more to than like just like doing that thing. Like
Yeah.
I learned respect. I learned money management. So much other stuff that went into it that now like I try my best to teach to like my students.
Yeah.
But yeah, and now I still teach there.
Well, then I guess it kind of works out because at the end of the day, that's sort of where somebody that would be doing ballet would end up regardless, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So you just kind of skipped all the like really like fun 20, young 20s, you know, any sort of competitive whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume you were doing that at a younger age, but
Right.
I would think I don't know. I'm not a huge ballet guy, but I would assume that goes pretty competitive if you keep working at it.
Yeah, it was competitive from probably my second or third year of starting.
Yeah.
And I also think too, again, like being younger than most of these people in my class, like really like threw people. They were
Yeah.
like, what? We've been here blah 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 years, and she just came in, and so
Yeah.
it's a cutthroat world. It's changed a lot since I left, but
Well, you're like a prodigy, and then you were like, "But this isn't for me."
I was nowhere near a
I
prodigy.
know I'm the best person in the class here, but I'm out. I've got a boy now.
No, that's the thing too, is in Oklahoma, I think I also had that realization of like, I really don't look like the traditional ballerina.
Mhm.
I like everything that I do have, like flexibility, the strength, like I had to work for it. There was like no time off. If I wasn't dancing, I was in the gym, I was doing something like Pilates.
Yeah.
And then I like looked around, it's like all this work I'm putting in, and I'm still not really getting a lot of the parts. I don't look a lot like these people. And like honestly, like I would say I was probably in like the bottom 5
Okay.
of like those people. Like just being realistic.
Well, and that kills your morale. But even if it's not true, even if that's just how you feel, that's going to kill like
Right.
the enjoyment of it.
It was hard too. I had a friend that was like naturally had everything that she needed and she didn't put in the effort, and it was like, well, why should I spend hours and hours just to not like get the parts that I want kind of
Yeah.
thing, and she does nothing, just walks in and she gets them. So and that was kind of like all everything. Like that starts from the very first performance you audition for.
Yeah.
I think I have the hiccups, so
I hear that. I heard that. That'll make this a really good podcast.
oh gosh, no, they'll go away. They'll go away. I'm gonna drink my Pepsi here.
I really um don't even know how to go about talking about this because I am so vastly different from you where like I moved and I got so addicted to moving. There was no part of me that ever wanted to be back home, you know. When
Mhm.
I moved from I bounced around colleges, never like really went anywhere with it. Which is why, you know, I'm a full-time streamer now, but you know, how it is, the regular pipeline. But bounce around colleges, spent a lot of my parents' money, so I get that aspect. I feel horrible about that. And then I bounced around. I moved to like Seattle, and then or I moved to Bellingham for school, and then COVID hit, or COVID had already hit, but like really honed in. COVID was much differently handled in Washington. Not to get into my stuff, but I'm gonna get into my stuff because I'm cocky like that or whatever. And then I moved to Seattle on a whim with giving them like 1 week notice that I'm moving to Seattle, and they were like, "How in the world are you doing that?" And we had weird like cosign situations and whatnot, and we just made
Mhm.
it work. We lived with 2 people. One of them I was dating, and I was still living with my now wife, but we weren't dating at the time. And I was very much just like go getter. And the second that everything started slowing down in Seattle, and I was like, Seattle's not for me. I hated having to move back to Chicago, and I didn't even live by my parents. I just hated the fact that I felt like I was like losing that move, which is why after like a year and a half we moved to San Diego. So it's just funny to hear that like that you had such a like completely different experience where you were like, yep, nope, got my guy, moved back home, like that's where I was always meant to be, and you don't, as far as I can tell, don't have really any intention of moving.
Yeah, if we do any moving, it'll be for his job. But I think that all is because I actually did a lot of moving because of my dad's job. Like we've been all over Texas. I say all over, like tiny towns of Texas. Like the town that I'm from, like it literally has like 700 people in it.
Okay.
So where I live now is not like where I grew up. I didn't like really call this home until 2016.
Okay.
But we lived in a lot of like small like South Texas areas and stuff. So I just remember like I don't want to be doing this like forever. So again, very different. I liked having somewhere to like call home. And now my in-laws are here. My parents live like 5 hours away, which stinks, but like I would consider this like a place that I could stay in forever.
Yeah, and that makes more sense because what I was doing was I was moving from city to city, and there were big cities all around the states.
Right.
So it's not like I had that small town feel. There was never like a, oh, I'm walking around the downtown and I'm seeing people I know, you know? So
Yeah.
it felt like I was so disconnected from each city I lived in. And I guess I can go into like I lived it was like LA when I was born and then Chicago for a lot of my life. Like in the suburbs of these really big cities. Naperville, Illinois is really large and that was where I spent a lot of my life. And even after 5 years roughly there, I could walk around, I wouldn't know a soul that's outside, you know? Even my
Yeah.
like neighbors, I just didn't know anybody. So I never got like attached. And I think that's probably the difference between you bouncing around small towns where you actually
Yeah.
did start to get to know the people that you were like bumping into, and then to have like moved to like Oklahoma City is massive, you know.
Yeah,
And so there's
for
no there
sure.
you don't get that attachment. So I would probably in your case probably yearn to be in a place where you actually knew people again. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting
Yeah.
because it's a sort of a similar situation, but I think it's just a population density thing, really. That's a simplification, but I'm sure there's lots of reasons you want to be there. But just
Right.
in comparison to my situation.
There's no water around me. That is sad.
Yeah, I live in San Diego now. We're right by the
It's
water.
so sad. But
Well, you can move here.
yeah.
That seems like that sounds like your prerogative now. San Diego's beautiful.
Oh yeah. That's my only option. It's
That's
the
your
only
only
place that has
option.
water ever.
There you go. I think realistically, you would hate San Diego.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that 100%.
I'm curious about the religious journey. Journey sounds like a dramatic word, but I am curious.
Yeah. I knew this was coming, so I was like, "Ugh, I gotta see if I remember everything."
Well, and this leads into like my kind of final sort of thought.
Uh-huh.
But you know, it all collapses. So, but I am curious.
Right.
When did you get introduced? I assume you were introduced at a, very young age.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. Okay. Tell me the whole scoop.
I didn't grow up going to church regularly, except for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. We went to like this tiny Methodist church. It was about 10 minutes from the tiny, teeny, tiny town that I lived in
Okay.
most of my childhood. And we would go, it was like just kind of routine. Like my parents would take us, my older brother, my younger sister, like we would help like with fundraisers, we would help in the nursery and stuff. And then all of a sudden we weren't going anymore. And it was like, okay, this is kind of weird.
Hmm.
And it was like traditional, like you had pews, you were reading out of hymn books. There was no like nothing like what I do now or where
Sure.
I go now.
Hmm.
Um, but then it was kind of like there was nothing. There was still like to me that aspect of like there's a higher power. And I really like believed that even without like having like a relationship with anything or anyone.
Yeah.
Um so we stopped going and I didn't start going until my brother's now ex-girlfriend invited me to that Tuesday night young adults group. And I was 17. This was right before I moved to Oklahoma. So there's a little overlap there. But I remember going and I told her, I was like, I don't have a Bible, I don't have a notebook, like I don't know anything. Like,
Yeah.
and I still don't know a lot. Like I still am like, okay, where's this and that in the book? But
Yeah. Because most people are raised with it. Like this is a you're in a rare scenario.
right, yeah, like Lawson grew up going to church. Like he had a time like where he wasn't going to church, but his parents were still like raising him that way, and with that belief system.
Yeah, it's got to be like 1% of people that are religious don't grow up with it. So that
Yeah.
they're transitioned into it. So that's fascinating.
Everywhere I walk, there's like it's the same story. Well, I got baptized when I was 5. I've been going, and it's like, well, not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, even I was baptized at like 2, 3, whenever the right baptized age is, but I was baptized very young.
Oh my gosh. Lore.
Yeah, no, I was. Oh, well, I can go into that a little bit, but I'm curious more about you. I was raised Lutheran very slightly, because my grandparents were religious, and
Uh-huh.
over and this I feel like is going to not counteract your conversation, but I think we have very different stories where
Oh
even
yeah.
at this point, I don't think my grandparents are all that religious at this point. I think with the political alignment and everything of the lovely country of America,
Yeah.
United States of America, even my grandparents are seeing like the flaws in the demographic, and
Yeah.
that has pushed pretty much all of my family away from it. And I went every like it was like Easter and Christmas I would go, and I
Hmm.
actually didn't necessarily mind it. I didn't believe in a single thing. I was very, very logical growing up, and there was just
Hmm.
nothing logical about it to me.
Right.
No judgment at all, but there's just nothing based in logic to me. It's just,
Yeah.
hearsay at best. So I never really followed it, but I liked singing. I was a choir kid, so I was like, yeah, I'll sing some songs and sit and listen to some guy talk. I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so, did that a couple times a year. That started narrowing down. Then I moved out, and it was very seldom. And now I really don't think even my grandparents go. I think they were only going for the minister that was there, the pastor.
Hmm.
Um, and when he left, I haven't heard word about church since. So
Oh dang.
but I really think it has to do with our political climate. So it's, anyways, legitimately complete opposite scenario of you,
Yeah.
except for we both were very minimally in it growing up. And then I
Yeah.
faded and you got really into it. So,
Yeah, well, I think that's what's so hard too, is I agree, like you'll talk to people and there's like, well, no, there's no way you can be this and agree with that. And it's both my husband and I are very like, okay, you guys are missing the whole point. Like whether you believe in something or not, like, or you read this book and you believe or not, like the whole point is to love.
yes.
Like, and that's what everybody like immediately goes to when they don't know what to say. But like that is the true like that's why I hate the word religion. We've always used like spirituality,
Yeah.
but for lack of a better word, in this scenario, religion is like, but it is a tough like thing to balance. And I
Yeah.
think that's like what's been so interesting for me about like the community that you've created is like I've learned so much. Like I was very sheltered, whether I was going to church or not. Like I was very sheltered. Like I didn't hang around like I didn't know anything
Yeah.
about a lot of the people that we have in our community.
Yeah.
And it was never like oh, like I don't know what they're going through. I'm going to brush past it. It's like, no, like I want to hear more kind of thing. And I think
Hmm.
that's like what draws me to the community personally.
Yeah.
But anyways,
That's unrelated. We'll get to that later.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
I think
sorry.
the challenge back to sort of the religious side, that a lot of people face is that, it is all based in this concept of like loving your neighbor, whatever,
Right.
just love as a whole. But then the other end of that is that no matter what you do, you will be forgiven. And I feel like those two, and I know this is incorrect. This is a very stale way to look at it. Those two directly counteract each other. The concept of
Right.
like you should love everybody, but if you don't, you will be forgiven. And that's what everyone, you can lean either way. And I know there's probably a very good chunk of people that are very good people and are religious, but there's
Right.
a probably, I would argue maybe majority that lean the other way, at least the
Yeah.
majority that are very public facing lean the other way. They say, I can be as rude, horrible, negative, pessimistic as I want towards minorities, towards like these smaller groups, knowing that I will be forgiven. And that's all under the same guise of, religion, Christianity, whatever you practice.
Right.
So that's, I think, where it becomes very flawed in my head. And that's what I always thought. And I was like, if those are the 2 points we're looking at, those cannot coexist. Those two bubbles are completely counteracting each other. So, and then I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. Which, and I'm not very nice, but I'm also not trying to be forgiven. I don't need to be. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah. I think like what you're saying though, I think regardless of how much time you put into it on like researching and trying to find logic, like you just like you won't. But I think like at least for like my husband and I, for us, like we're okay with like the idea of I don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what we believe. Like, we trust a higher power, and I'm okay not understanding this and doing like A versus B, you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, I get it. I knew like this was like one place that we were like polar opposites in, and I was like actually really interested to like hear
Yeah, me
like if you
too.
had any upbringing in it. But yeah, I was baptized, or I like in like logical terms, like surrendered my life. I was baptized. I actually got baptized on August 11th, 3 days before I moved to Oklahoma.
Okay.
I immediately hopped into a mega church that I now like do not like. When I
Yeah.
moved to Oklahoma City, I was serving like 2 to 3 year olds,
Yeah.
like watching them while their parents were in service,
Hmm.
all that stuff. And then I moved back here, and this has kind of been like my home church. It's like where the group or the young adults group started, who I got baptized with, and now it's where we go. But like we're very like we went through a good period of like we didn't go to church. We weren't like neat like that to us isn't like what we needed kind of thing. We're just very big on like the relationship aspect of it, and how like for us, like if we're not talking about it and we're not bringing it up, and like living that way, then like we really aren't like the same people. But when I like was baptized, like I've always been a really super like joyful person,
Yeah.
but I like literally had an immediate shift, like from that week of baptism to like moving, an immediate shift of like, there's like more to me than just ballet. Like I had like a whole like identity crisis at 17.
Sure.
I was like, no, like I love to dance and that's great, but like that's not like my end goal kind of thing. And that for me is when everything shifted of like, no, like I started serving in this church and I loved these little 2 and 3 year olds, and I was like, I'm supposed to teach. I'm supposed to pour into these kids until I have my own kids.
Yeah.
And that is when the like main shift happened. And because my parents aren't religious, um, I think they just, it kind of like you were saying, there's deeper meaning, but not really. And it's like, but there is like to me,
Hmm.
like, but that they couldn't really wrap their mind around.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, so the whole thing was that like I had like a 6 year long eating disorder. I'm like open about it. It's no like big deal anymore.
Sure.
But like from when I moved to the town I live in now, and all through dancing professionally, I like struggled with this, struggled with body image. And that was something that like I felt like physically change, like due to like my religion,
Hmm.
like leaning on something bigger than me, like made me love myself in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, there's more to me than how I look and than what I do. And, and I think you can totally have that perspective without having any kind of religious background.
Yeah. I would argue that unironically, I look at life very similarly. It just has nothing to do with religion.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, and now we go to church. Lawson and I both serve like high school students on Sunday nights. But we're not super plugged into a community. It's very actually hard to find young parents. At first, it was hard to find like young married people around here.
Sure.
Now it's hard to find like young married parents.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot, like a good group, but just very different stages of life. It's hard. I
Yeah.
feel like it's just hard to make friends in general these days.
Oh, it's awful.
Like it's so like black and white, and it's like, okay, I promise we can find, obviously there's topics and certain things, but like if I'm just like saying hi, just say hello back, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, for sure. So you're now religious. What's your official, like, I don't even know, jurisdiction? Like, what are you? What are you?
Denomination.
Nomination. Jurisdiction.
um Christianity, we would say like we're more non-denominational.
Yeah. Well, and that leans into
So
like the way you even describe it as spiritual.
yeah, and like the church we go to now is not a mega church by any means. Like again, you see the same people there every week, but it's a good sized. I mean, they probably have 100 to 200 people per service every week. So
Yeah. I have like several questions and I'm trying to
I'm
get them
sorry.
all. No, no, no. I'm trying to get them all like in my head too. Um, What were your parents' reaction to you becoming religious after not being religious your whole life?
They really didn't have like any big reaction or anything. My brother had kind of, that was the whole reason like I kind of already knew some of these people I was hanging around with, is my brother had kind of already been hanging out, and he's not like, he goes to church with his fiance and everything now, but he's not nearly as, I would say, like devoted, I guess.
Sure.
So it wasn't really surprising to them when they were hearing the same names back and forth. Um, they weren't with me like when I got baptized or anything. Our wedding was very biblical, and they loved it. Like they pray and stuff when I ask them to,
Okay.
but it's like all based off of my asking.
Yeah.
I will say I've noticed from my mom, especially since having Lucy, that she is like definitely more like receptive to it. Both my parents had really like hard upbringings, and especially my dad is just like, I've asked him like, I'm not that person to be like, do you believe in God? Like I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But I did ask him, I was like where are you at? Like, do you have a relationship with him? And this was probably, I was probably like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't married yet. So, and he was like, yeah, I've just had a really rocky relationship. Like, I do believe there's some kind of higher power. I just wouldn't say that like I'm gonna sit down and talk to it kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, they're very, again, like my mom too. I'll text her something about Lucy, and she's like, "Okay, I'll be thinking about you. I'll be praying." And they'll pray with us before eating and stuff if that's what we do, which honestly, you don't really do. Oh, I hope none of my friends hear this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, there was no big thing.
Just because I like, this is just such a different world for me
Mhm.
than like what I like am raised with. And I wasn't raised with like religion is bad. I really don't look at religion necessarily as bad. I think there's a lot of people that use it for bad, and I think
Oh, for
there's
sure. Yeah.
certainly is a good use for it that it seems like you're nailing, which is great.
Hmm.
Do you think that the people that you're surrounded with look at religion in the same way that you do, in that like very like positive, healthy way?
The people that I like purposely align myself with, yes. But again, it's a very small group. Like, these aren't people I see like weekly, like we hang out kind of thing. It's like, I don't really know if that makes sense, but like the people I sit next to, I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what
Okay.
you believe in, everything.
Yeah.
But like the person that because we have two leaders for every group that we serve. Like the person I co-lead with, like I went through a co-lead or two before I finally was like, no, this person sees eye to eye with me. Um, and I would say that in like the biggest aspect of things, like probably not. Like
Yeah.
the majority of the people in there are probably either there to like just look good, and like they've been going their whole life.
Yeah.
Or again, it's just they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like I said, I'm still figuring things out, and there's a lot of things that I'm like, okay, I agree with this, but it doesn't really align with like the world. So it's very, and it's hard too, because I won't lie that like the city that we live in is very like very conservative.
Well, any small town, really.
Yeah, so it does make it kind of interesting. But no, sorry, to answer your question, probably not. Like a majority of the people, probably not.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad, like in like just like being 100% real. I think it's sad, and it's hard to see sometimes that people will like put this like religion on a pedestal and expect them like their lives to be changed. And it's like, well, no, like you get what you put in, or you get out what you put in, kind of thing. But I'm also like not sitting there like change my life. Like, no, I have to be willing to do work too. Like, I have a friend that says like, you can have faith to move mountains, but like you have to be willing to pick up a shovel too. And
Yeah.
I think I think I try and live by that as best as I can.
Yeah. But your devotion to the church and religion has not wavered whatsoever, given even that the demographic of people that you're surrounded by is probably very different from yours.
No.
I don't think I could do. I genuinely, and this is like almost a respect thing to you. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could be surrounded by people, and maybe this goes a little bit into my community. It actually goes pretty directly into my like
Hmm.
the point that I was going to make. I don't think that I could do that. I just don't. What I'm so fascinated by out of all of these things is that you have still found yourself here in our community that is so vastly different, fairly like atheist, liberal.
Right.
I mean, not atheist, but fairly. I mean, I would assume probably 90% of our people are very much somewhat anti-religion just based on the morals
Yeah.
that most of those people live by. I think this is going to be one of the more interesting podcast episodes for me because you don't fit the mold of the people that are in my community. Um,
Right.
and so I just want to know everything about your thoughts. Like, how did you end up here? Why? How did you stay? How do you explain this to other people? You know?
Well, I don't really explain it to other people
Yeah.
for
Okay. Fair.
one. um,
Because but you're really involved. So to some degree, like
right.
you might not have to explain this to other people, but like unless you're really just in it and you just got this baby and you got a lot of time and you never have to like talk to somebody else about this, I have to think you're like somewhat like you've had to explain this at some point or another, you know?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Okay. Then never mind. Half of my question's gone.
No, I mean, it's not like I just, the stage I'm at, like, there's just like, my best friend lives in North Carolina. There's not really like anything to be like, oh, well, this is what I did today. I sat for 6 hours and had a payless job for this pink
Yeah,
haired dude. You know what
exactly.
I mean? But I think that's like, so I found you when I was like freshly pregnant.
Yeah.
I was house sitting because I didn't like work a normal job because I was pregnant. And
Hmm.
I remember I was like house and dog sitting and I had like scrolled past a few times. I was like, get this guy off my screen. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't watch lives. I don't watch streams. Like, that's just not me. It's not fun. It
No.
hasn't been.
No.
And then finally I was like, you were playing that like off-brand, I say off-brand, but like off-brand Animal Crossing, like it was like a wizard or
Oh my
something.
god, that was your stream back?
I
Oh,
think
that was
so.
a horrible stream.
That was like my very first stream that I like locked into. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
he's come up a few times. I'm gonna give him the time of day. And then I see you only have like 2 viewers. And normally, like, I'm that person that if I'm scrolling on TikTok and I like a video and then I see it's only got 18 likes, I unlike it. Like, I don't stay. But from the jump, I was like, I could tell what one, your TTS was like nothing I've literally never heard of that, never
Yeah.
seen it.
Hmm.
And I think it was interesting for me to see like how you interacted with people. And again, like the community has changed so much. I mean, it's been almost a whole year,
Yeah.
but I was like, this guy's talking to these people like they're his friends.
Hmm.
And that's like, oh my gosh, that's kind of interesting, kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then at the time, like, I didn't know like the way like you did anything, like what you believe in and like how you like live your life kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I stuck around. It was just a lot of free time, kind of like I have now.
Yeah.
But I remember like my third stream in, you finally were like, okay, who are you? And you
Yeah.
like clicked on my page and you were like, oh, you know, you can stick around. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah, I probably had to there's the approval process, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I did a lot of house sitting, a lot of dog sitting. So I just kind of was like, okay, this is like in a way, like from the like beginning, because I didn't watch streams, it kind of was like a guilty pleasure in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's not normally what I would do with my free time.
Well, especially though, like again, with the type of community we have, it's just very different from like anyone you would be like around. Just
Right,
even by
exactly.
like, yeah, association. So
Yeah, so I kind of was just like, okay, I'll just like watch this whenever I have time, and he's kind of funny. I'll stick around.
yeah.
And then I didn't join Discord for a while because I didn't really ever use it, and it took me a minute to go over to Twitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main thing, like to me, was like I like that I'm like meeting people that like I would not meet here
Yeah.
in my small town.
Hmm.
Like it is nice. And it was also for me, like, especially like on a deeper level, like when you started to like really get to know like me and like your viewers just overall, but like most people that were like in this close knit group of people like knew I was religious and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And that was huge to me. Like literally, like it sounds so silly, but like I'm like emotional and postpartum, but like it really does like make me tear up thinking of like how accepting like your people are. And I say your people because you've cultivated this.
Cult.
What'd you say?
Said cult. Sorry, you
Yeah,
said the
yeah,
word cultivate, but no, continue.
yeah. But and again, the community changed a whole bunch and I left for a long time. Like I didn't have notifications on Discord, so I was like, this man's not streaming anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not house sitting anymore.
Yeah,
Like the
you left for a
times just
while. Yeah. Because I switched accounts or something. Yeah.
yeah. And then what I think what really stood out to me is when I came back, like after having my baby, and you're like shy. And I was like, he knows me? Like it was like, oh my gosh. Not in like a you're like on a pedestal kind of way, but like, oh my gosh, like he remembers.
This is really funny. You don't know this.
Oh gosh.
I'm this is so funny. Look, let me show you the you said it's funny
Oh.
he knows me. This is the podcast cover right now.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I nailed the name. I changed the name last minute earlier today.
You did
That's
it. Yeah.
so funny.
That's great.
You can finish your statement. That just really caught me off guard because I'm looking at this
No,
thing right
no,
now.
I'm glad that you said that. No, but it meant a lot like that because for me, this was a whole brand new time of my life, like so many new emotions, a lot more free time, like less time seeing people that I really love and know, just like with them working and me not working, that it was like it was huge. It just like I said, I didn't watch streams, so I didn't really have like a baseline, but like I know of streamers and it's like it's nothing like this.
Yeah.
But I think too, like now, like I've watched like VODs and stuff, and it's like, oh, she's back kind of thing. And then I leave, and then it's like, oh, well, I hope she like stays in the community more, like, you know, from Patreon and stuff. And
Yeah.
like to me, that like meant a lot, like not just from you, but from your community. And a lot of people are still in it. And then, like I said, the main thing for me was like people knowing my part of my background, like the religious aspect, and like I've never heard a peep.
No, I haven't either.
I think in a way, like I helped like cultivate that for myself of like never being like, okay, well, this is what I thought and now I don't kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this is what I've heard about, you know, this group of people. And then like actually being friends with these people, it's like, no, you guys are just haters. You like literally just hate life, you know,
Yeah.
and like just using religion to hate that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no. And I think because I never was like that, like towards anybody, I like received that same like courtesy back in a way.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
also, people probably just really don't care, if I'm being honest.
I actually might disagree with that, given the fact that everyone wanted to hear you on the podcast. You know, I think there's a certain level of curiosity you might not be aware of. I certainly was when they were like, you know, I want Chey on the podcast. I was like, I want Chey on the podcast. I'm curious, you know, because I'm curious what leads somebody in your position to be around so heavily in our community. Because a lot of the people in my community are very much in my community because they're surrounded by people that are a lot like them, and
Mhm.
they're surrounded by people that are a lot like their friends generally. I would say at least 50% of them, I would say more than
Right.
50% of them, majority are in there because they're like, oh, yeah, this is just like how my friends act. You know, it's why we can see Blake bring Caleb in, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And be like, it's a perfect match. You know, these are people that would be friends outside of this. And you are the odd duck out, in my opinion, one of the more odd ducks out, where I don't think you not that you wouldn't have been friends with, but you don't have the opportunity to be friends with like this demographic of people, like myself included to some degree. Um,
Yeah. I get.
had I met you out and about, unless there was some just divine force putting us together, there would just be no way that we would ever run into each other. You know, we
Right.
don't run in the same circles at all. I mean, you know that I mean, not to get into this silly stuff, but you know that you're like one of my like favorite people on here and like one of my closer friends now by far. Whether you know
Yeah.
that or not, like that's just matter of fact for me. You all, this community are my social life because of how I put together this community. And so you are pretty much at the forefront of it. It's like you, Allie, you know, and some of the others. Sorry to anybody, I just didn't just list there.
They're fuming. They're fuming right now.
When you came back to the community, I like definitely like I noticed in general, but I definitely noticed when you did because I like struggle losing those people, you know, especially when I don't really have other people in my life. I moved to San Diego now. I don't know anybody out here. So it's just very interesting to me. Your whole The whole you
I'm
being
mysterious.
yeah, you're sort of a mysterious in like the least mysterious way. I would say you're one of the least mysterious people in chat. You've got the, southern warmth, but it just because of that, it's interesting to have you in. Let's bounce off of that for a second, because like your husband has to be somewhat aware of
Right,
like all of this. What do you think the thoughts of somebody that like nobody knows you're here, nobody knows you're on this call with me outside of maybe your husband? What
right.
what would you imagine they would think of this, including your husband? Like if they really just got the full-fledged, they somehow someone magically put all of the last, year of my relationship with you and your relationship with chat in this very like liberal, silly, sort of mean spirited, like
That's the
honest,
best part.
close knit, but like that, I feel like that's different from the people you're surrounded with,
Yeah.
what would their thoughts on this be?
I think that like I've got like one or two really close like girlfriends.
Yeah.
I think they would actually, I mean, I would see them in the community. It sounds like you guys are like charity work when I put it this way, but like
I think we kind of are.
but like they would like have this like respect, I feel like, for like again, like I think it's easy for me to be in this community because I don't really have a community outside of it.
Yeah.
And what I do, like we were talking about earlier, like a majority of them really don't think the same way I do.
Yeah.
So I think they'd be impressed in a way. But like I don't that's not the right word. I'm like, I just don't really have that many people that I'd be like, well, look what I did. But if I did, I think there would be some people that would probably think differently. They're like, oh, well, she's not who she says she is because she's in church on Sundays and then she's calling people idiots on Mondays. And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
so I do think that there would be like a little bit of that aspect, but I think if they are like the two people I'm thinking of in my head, like they would stick around for a minute to kind of see like what it really is for me.
Yeah.
And it sounds like so sentimental, but it's like it was something new for me, something great, like when I was freshly pregnant. And it was like, I mean, I literally associate the beginning of my pregnancy with house sitting, having terrible heartburn, and your streams. Like those
Yeah.
are like the three things I think of. So I think
Really good trio for me to be placed in. House sitting, heartburn, Schlaacka,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately the people who like judge me like just aren't who they say they are.
Yeah.
Like I think if anything, like me being able to stick around and actually like not just be in stream, but like be a part of stream, like just goes to show that like there's so much more to my like spirituality than not than yours in a way of like I'm better than you, but like in the way that I think about it.
Yeah.
Oh god. They're back.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you and I, there's a small subsection of the community that look very similarly at the world. Which I would put you, me, Allie. I'm sure there are others that I'm just not thinking of because I'm just looking at my messages recently, and those are just the people that are on
Right.
there. But a small subsection of people that look at life somewhat verbatim, almost. I don't know if that makes sense, but very like logically, very like this is what it is. We can joke about it because it doesn't matter if we joke about it because this is what it is. This is life.
Right.
And then there's the majority of people in the community, I would say, are a little bit more fantastical. Is that a word? Does that make sense?
I don't know if that's a word.
I
I'm
think
not.
fantastical is a word. They were looking at it very like a little bit more romantically. We have a very honest community, but a lot of people look at it a lot more emotionally than at least the three of us put off, and like
Right.
that subsection put off. It's just interesting because you, me, and Allie, but especially you, me, we're raised just so differently and
Yeah.
live such different lives. So I've always been just super intrigued by the fact that you and I just get along so conveniently. It's really neat to me that you and others are a part of the little team of people that I never would have met outside of this. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, cool. I'll let you go, but it was nice talking to you. Regardless of I'm sure I will talk more outside of this, but
Yeah.
but super cool. I mean, this was exactly what I kind of wanted it to be.
It was nice to hear a little bit of your upbringing too, because you talk about it a good amount and like your family and stuff. I like actually adore how you talk about your family. I think it's really sweet. But I was like looking forward to this.
Yeah, no,
So
me too. It's hard to get any word in during our ridiculous stream. So it's nice to
yeah.
get this opportunity to get to know, everyone a little bit more. If you enjoyed this, give me a follow on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. I'm live there. Content's very different, but you'll get to meet more of these lovely folks. Expect more episodes of this, hopefully weekly, or as often as I can get them out. Give me a sub on here, wherever you're listening to this, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and thank you. I love you.